Crashing On with Karen. This week on the show, we are chatting to actor Kate Liquorish and director Samantha Nell from the rom-com Do Your Worst on Netflix. We'll be talking a bit more about that a little bit later, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out to support us at Comic-Con Cape Town. We had an amazing time. We were chatting about podcasting, the fact that we're moving into video, the future of Crashing On, and the past, some of our highlights, and just what makes podcasting special and why we're moving to vodcasting. So thank you all for your support. I mean, we wouldn't be who we are or have gone as far as we have if it wasn't for all the listeners, all the followers, and just the people speaking our names in rooms, which has been amazing. Comic-Con was hectic, so if you weren't there last weekend, you really missed out, and you should be there next year. Or if you're in Joburg, you should go to Comic-Con Africa Joburg because it was a lot of fun. We got to see Kat Graham dancing. Kat Graham and I are now best friends. We got to see Ross Marquardt from The Walking Dead, Jason Momoa from The Punisher, the amazing Tati Gabriel from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, The 100, You, Uncharted, and David Oakes from Vikings Valhalla. So that was amazing. There was so many stores. I got some merch. I posted on TikTok, on the Crashing On TikTok page, what I got. And other than that, there was amazing talks, amazing activations. The gaming hall was magnificent if you play games. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we've had a really, really busy week just trying to post Comic-Con. So sorry that this episode is a little bit late. There's a lot going on. I started working full-time again, which means that this one woman or two woman, three woman show has been a little bit difficult to keep up. But we move, we go. I want to say that for those of you who have been long-time listeners, the Pop Culture Chat is coming back. Leanne will be back. But unfortunately, it will be available just for Patreon subscribers. So we're going to have special mini episodes where Leanne and I will talk about some of our faves in pop culture. Also, some of how our perspectives on celebrity news, but it'll be Patreon exclusive because we're independent. Everything is self-financed. It's always been self-financed, but especially now that we uber independent, and we are doing all the hosting ourselves, all the equipment, every tool we use that we pay for, the recording studio that we use, everything that we pay for comes out of pocket. So, and everybody who works on the podcast works for free. So if you would like to support us, please go to patreon.com. I'm also working on creating pop culture newsletters that can basically be your blink and you miss it, for those of you who aren't constantly scrolling the news pages for pop culture. We're going to give it to you in bite-sized form in a newsletter so you know what's going on. You can talk at the water cooler, all of those things. Plus we're going to be giving merch, and there's a lot going on. So go to patreon.com/crashingonpod to support the podcast and get some cool things from us in return. And before we go into the interview, I also wanted to chat a little bit about my Crashing On. So because I've had a very busy week these past 2 weeks, I haven't had a chance to really watch anything on TV, other than, stuff that I'm already watching. I'm trying to catch up on Succession. I'm still in season 1. So everybody, no spoilers, please. Although I do know the big spoiler from the latest season. But I'm getting a bit of FOMO. Everyone is talking about it. What I've seen so far, I'm loving. very much in love with the actress who plays Shiv. What's her name? Sarah Sinook. I'm very, very attracted to her. Plus, like, I just really love Brian Cox. Like, I think he is a tremendous actor, and he's perfect in this role, and I'm enjoying it very much. So, I'm very much, I'm behind on the Succession bandwagon, but I'm there. I have also been doing quite a bit of reading, but I try to not to comment on books until I've finished reading them. So the three books I'm reading now is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Um, I'm rereading An Offer from a Gentleman from Julia Quinn, and I'm listening via Audible the audiobook of The White Album by Joan Didion. Um, I didn't want to comment on the whole Colleen Hoover situation until I'd read one of her books, and this is my first one. And the beginning of the book, it was very easy to get into. But now I'm nearing the end of the book, and yeah, I'm not having a good time. I will talk more about it once I finished reading it. But I mean, I know a lot of people who love Colleen Hoover. I know a lot of people who hate Colleen Hoover. So, at this moment, I'm probably in the middle. There's, yeah, I'm leaning towards the not liking part. So I don't know if I'll ever read another Colleen Hoover book, but this has been an interesting ride. Um, but yeah, guys, please, we are very active on TikTok right now. We we've been posting videos every day. So please come comment, come follow, come ask questions because that's how we connect with you. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, that's how we get to know our listeners. So let's get back to what the show is actually about. So this week on the show, we are talking about messy friendships. And for me, one of my favorite television series is Girls. And I think it was such a brilliantly written TV show. And it just encapsulated these four women in their 20s so well. And I've always kind of seen it as the blueprint for me when it comes to how messy female friendships are portrayed on screen. I mean, obviously we've had Sex in the City and we've had various other TV shows, but Girls was so raw. So I was reminded a lot about Girls when I watched Do Your Worst, and it tells the story of this woman named Sondra. She's played by Shannon Esra, phenomenal South African actor Shannon Esra, who is kind of like, she's like a washed up actor. So she played a villain on a soapy back in the day, very like Sandra Stattenham, Gita vibes. And then now she's getting older, she's turning 40, and she's still just like going up, auditioning for adverts and commercials, whatever, those kind of things, and small roles. And she's just like not getting her big break. And she has this best friend Carla, who's played by Kate Liquorish. And the two of them have a very interesting relationship because while Sondra is still very much like partying it up and hooking up with different men and still living a very like youthful Tinder life, Carla is married with kids and seemingly more settled, but we know how that myth goes. And we kind of watch as they go through these different highs and lows of their relationship, how they break up and come together. And it's very funny and it's done very well. So, and also really great performances. So this week we're gonna go a bit deeper in that, and I spoke to Kate Liquorish and Samantha Nell, the director, about the different themes of the film, but also about their own experiences with getting older, um, with female friendships, with communication, and how you go through these various aspects as you move into your 30s and your 40s, and you no longer have the excuse of, oh, we're young and we do stupid things. So a very entertaining film. If you have not seen it yet, it is available to watch on Netflix. So I suggest that you do. Like, it's a very light watch. It's only an hour and 30 minutes. I love a good short film. And that this film right on the money. So it's only an hour and 30 minutes, and it's an easy watch, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, this is our interview with Kate and Samantha. Hi, Sam and Kate. Welcome to Crashing On. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're excited to be here.
So, your film "Do Your Worst" just came out. How are you feeling? Any one of you can go first. Sam, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. No, I'm super excited. I've really been enjoying seeing how the film is resonating with people, and just the little bits of interaction that we've been able to have with audience members have been really, really fun. Also, I'm really relieved that it's out now and I don't have to stress about it coming out anymore, because that was actually kind of a downer.
And you, Kate?
Super happy. Just the audience response has been out of this world. It's really been amazing. Every time I open my Instagram or my WhatsApp, there's another gift, a gif, the gift of the gift, another gif or an LOL or some amazing meme about how much someone's enjoyed it and how much they love it and how much they laughed and they needed it. And it's been really refreshing. Yeah, just amazing amount of love from an amazing amount of friends and total strangers.
Yeah,
It's a very
so
memeable movie. I like
that's
Very.
honestly,
it is.
that was in the design of it, guys. I was like, part of us were like, there's some good gifts in this movie. Like
Yeah.
I love it as a movie, and I love thinking about it as a whole and a narrative whole. But I was also like, we gotta make some gifts.
So tell us about the film and why you wanted to get involved in it. You can start again with you, Sam.
Sure. It came out of a long relationship with Bongi Wisalani, our producer. So she and I have known each other for a very long time and have been financing another project together that I'd written. And as financing goes, 6-7 years down the line, we still haven't made that movie, but it'll come one day.
Yeah.
And she had found the script through Zoe Laban, through our writer, and sort of was like, oh, I know you don't rom-com's not really your thing, but would you be interested? And I was like, yes, I would be interested. I would like to do that. But it was also just like reading Zoe's script and like seeing the potential after talking to them for like the tone we wanted to take it to, which was like, I haven't seen a sort of like grounded South African comedy like where I'm like, I'm laughing, but I feel for each of those people. I feel their realness, I feel their pain, as well as like I'm laughing. And so that was what excited me, and also just to get this like beautiful opportunity for like messy characters, not clowns, but like real messy characters. That's what excited me.
And you, Kate?
I mean, it was a crazy journey. Shannon touched on this actually when she was doing a Jacaranda interview, because both Shannon and I auditioned for Sondra, the lead, to begin with. That's who we went for, and then the callback was us auditioning with a whole lot of other people for both roles. We were both auditioning for Sondra, and then we were also auditioning for Carla. And I remember sitting outside the audition room with Shannon. She was like, who do you feel like more attached to? So I was like, Sondra, definitely. She's like, yeah, me too. It's like, I really don't like Carla. She was like, yeah, me either. And then 2 days later, I got the email. Sam would like to offer you the role of Carla. I was like, Carla? Carla? I'm Sondra. This is all wrong. And then I was like, no, she's clever, so she must know something. Let me think about this. So then I just kept rereading and reading the script, and I was like, there's got to be, because on the page, she comes across as just like a bird of a cow, and she's not likable. So I was like, but we've got to make her real. So I just started investing in her, and then I just started loving her. And as an actor, it's like this thing where once you get over the hurdle of like of characters who don't do nice things, and like getting over the human side of these terrible things they do, you get into this childlike space where you're like, I get to act like complete and utter mess and just set fire to things. This is like everyone's dream, like the interior monologue of what they wish they could do in real life. You get to do, and then you just embrace it and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. So then you just have fun with it. So that was kind of my journey, and then just I loved it. It was cast so well by Sam. Shannon and I just really get each other. We're very different as actresses, but it really works on screen because I think we're so different, bring different feels to things. And just working with a fantastic professional team who was just there and on it, and it was great. So we just had a lot of fun. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about, your relationship with Shannon, because your chemistry in the film seems like you guys have been like like I believed you guys were best friends since drama school, whatever. But so like, were you guys, I mean, I know the industry is small, but I mean, do you guys know each other?
Well, we did a big series called Still
Yes.
Breathing, where
Yeah.
we had to play best friends. She also had a thing with my husband. Like, I just don't,
It's a
spoiler
trilogy.
alert, but I don't like. There's something about Shannon and my husband that I need to take up with her. We'll see what the next film or series is. But no, so I think Still Breathing, because it was such an intimate process. We bonded very, very quickly. And I think Shannon and we get along really well, but we also have the utmost respect for each other. And so it's about kind of just bringing it, every day, and meeting each other there, and knowing what you're doing and embracing it. And it's like, there's a lot of like ugly in this, and it's nice to like, in acting, everyone's like, oh, it's so glamorous and so nice, but there was very little that was glamorous about this. I was either drunk or hungover in all of the scenes.
Carla's two speeds.
Yeah, and so you're playing ugly all the time. So it's nice to like have a person there who's also playing ugly with you, and you get to like, between the takes, you're just looking at each other being like, god, we look terrible, and you can laugh and you can play with it, and it just makes the world of difference where you've got like someone in the trenches with you. Obviously Sam's there, but Sam's just like trying to juggle all these balls, and then Shannon and I, they're kind of like holding each other's hand and supporting each other. So you become, it's real. You don't really have to fake it, because you're in it, and you're with someone who's raising the bar, so you raise the bar, and it's like, it's really rad. It's like playing tennis with someone who's better than you will play better. If you play with someone who's not as good, you won't play as well. And it's the same with acting. When you act with actors who are professional and amazing at what they do, it immediately ups your game. So yeah, it was really lovely. So on to the next. We'll have to do a sequel.
Yeah.
The third one where new husbands.
You sleep with no husband or whatever. Some payback time. But watching this, like, as a woman in her 30s, like, I was like, I see so much of myself and my relationships with friends through this, because, we have these messy moments which often aren't shown. So, I mean, Sam, with you directing, did you take inspiration from emotions that you felt in friendships? And yeah, and same with you, Kate, did you take inspiration from your friendships?
No, sorry, I'll jump in first.
Yeah.
For me, absolutely. It's like I went to drama school. Like I've lived this life. I mean, I was never an actor. I had to do performance, which everyone will tell you was the bane of my existence. But like, it gave me an insight into the vulnerability of that space. And then obviously just building on like the female friendships that I've had since, which, as with any human relationship, can run the gamut of like functional and loving and and all of those things, to completely and utterly toxic. And even though you love X person, there's like years of baggage. And I think for me it was very much about resonating on real relationships I've either observed or been a part of, but also about saying, hey, like, I know we're always privileging the romantic in our storylines, but like the real marriage of the film, the real kind of relationship of our film is the friendship. That's the one we want to say this is the most important relationship, and it's as valuable and as like real and emotive and meaningful as the marriages in the film.
And you, Kate?
Yeah, I mean, it is so fascinating because female relationships are complex. You know, people talk about sisters or best friends or these sort of things, and what was very important to us was that it felt real because they do such terrible things that if you don't believe in the love between these two women and the friendship between these two women, then you won't care. You know, whether they make it up or that, or you won't believe that they would forgive each other, or, you know, so it's very important to kind of inform that. And so I think, you know, it's lovely to do a film about sisterhood and about the complexities and about women making terrible mistakes. Like it seems in films to be like a masculine trait, and acceptable as a masculine trait to do terrible things and make terrible mistakes. Or you get like the Melissa McCarthy of the film, who like is just all over the place. You know what I mean? It's like it's one character's kind of, there's a comedic character who makes all these mistakes, but you have two leads who are intrinsically doing terrible things. As women, I find just so refreshing, because it's like it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's just refreshing. I think that's the word for me. It's like it's nice to see these things and these crazy, wonderful, often real stories played out for us.
I actually also just want to take the baton on something you said, because I think it was really important for me coming into it as well. Is like, it's like you do get this sort of Melissa McCarthy kind of character, which is great. I mean, she's incredibly talented, but it's almost started to feel for me like watching a bunch of these films in preparing for this, is that like somehow we had to have the okay woman so you could validate having the messy woman. And I was just like, nah, there is no, like, we're all a mess in this film.
Exactly.
It's cool.
Because that's realistic also. Because we all make messy decisions.
Totally.
And in guy movies, all of them are a hot mess. And somehow, like, that's fine and that's normal. But when there's a bunch of women who are messy, it's like, okay, but they need to normally be fine, and they make one mistake. But now it's like, no, they're just a hot mess, and they just keep on making mistakes. And it's interesting. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay.
But, you know, talking about like the whole refreshing thing, what was also like a breath of fresh air for me is to see sex being talked about like so positively and openly in a South African film about women. Because I hardly ever see that, like, you know, unless it's like a negative storyline, like it was just so fun, because I mean that's the way we talk with our friends, like just to see that. So well, I don't have a question in that, but like, was that something that found new for the two of you as well?
Again, I mean, I'm just gonna, because I think you have such a great read on the film. It's like it is all these little things that we sort of laid out there and like made decisions early on, and like that decision predates me. That comes from Zoe with the script and like wanting to be like, I want these women to feel like the women I know. I want the stories they tell to feel like stories I've heard. I want all of that to happen, and it was just like continual, like just like picking up that little breadcrumb and saying like, I'm gonna carry on with this trail. I want at no point in this film for us to feel bad that they have sexual desires, sexual wants, sexual feelings, like that they can navigate and decide like in the same way a man can because of desire. And there is no moral judgment on that. Because I don't place moral judgment on that. I don't think any of my friends do. But we are, as women, often taught to like moralize around our own sexuality. And so for, you know, like the film is breaking boundaries in small ways. It's still a commercial vehicle. It's still a rom-com that fits into a genre, but every area that we could push it, we were very consciously trying to do that.
There's a lot of emphasis on us in like normal as women to like find ourselves in our 20s and to come into our 30s like fully formed. But like, how do you feel that the film depicts how for most of us self-discovery comes later in life?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find the older I get, the better I feel about everything. Like I spent my 20s apologizing for everything, like for being me, for saying things, for doing things. And my whole life was like, oh, excuse me, or oh, sorry. And then when I hit 30, and then it's just like this ageist shaming thing. It's like big 30. It's like, no, 30 is just so young. You still don't know anything. But you finding your voice a little bit more and you apologizing a little bit less. And I was like, oh, this is so much better. It's so much nicer. You still make mistakes, and then you're approaching 40, and it's just your voice is louder, but you have a bit more wisdom. And I just think that getting older is just fantastic. And I think it's so nice to have films that are looking at this age, because things, women aren't having kids early on anymore. Women, you know what I mean? It's 40 is in many ways the new 30, but it's all different phases of life, and it's just wonderful to explore them all and to kind of celebrate them all in a way that like has nothing to do with a frame being put around that age. Because what does 40 mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my view. Sam, say something better.
No, all of those things are correct. I have nothing. No, but no, it's the same. It's like the older I get, the more confidence I have, and because the more time I've had to kind of like realize that my opinion is valid and a good divining rod for my sort of like way in the world. But then sort of cinematically and narratively, I apparently should be dead by now because women only exist under 30, and who cares? Which is a thing that's improved drastically over the last 15 years. Like there are many more stories like this, but I haven't seen a lot of them here. And that, again, that's where we're coming from. It's like we want something that is resonating with audiences. We want something that feels accessible, but we want just to twist it a little bit so you have never seen it before in our context.
So what advice would you guys give to our listeners that might be going through a friendship breakup?
Oh God, they should never take advice from us.
Don't
Do your worst.
Don't sleep with your friend's husband.
Do your worst will make you feel better about your life. It's like it's an extra add-on that we don't speak about, but it will make you feel fantastic about your life choices and your life.
9 out of 10 therapists recommend watching Do Your Worst for a good dose of Schadenfreude. I think the big lesson of the film for me, just to answer it seriously, is like I think what changes for these women is when they really are truthful with each other. That's when they're able to find a way back to the real kind of nugget of their friendship, the real meaningful elements. And I think we're again, to generalize, but like women are taught to deal with conflict very differently to how men deal with conflict, and a lot of the ways we deal with conflict involves like long drawn out, like not telling our friends, not being comfortable to go towards the conflict. And what's great about this film is like it leads up to an explosion that sort of allows them to then rebuild, and that in some ways having those conflicts, like having them openly, telling someone what you feel and what's not working for you, is the best way to kind of fix something.
What Sam said.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's just, it is exactly that. It's a case in point of a small thing bubbling over like 15 years for these two women, and then it just crescendos. And it is so important for us as human beings to just in a more in a safe space kind of scenario, is just to say how you feel or how things make you feel, and that to be okay. It's okay not to like something, or it's okay to be hurt by something. It's how you feel, but it's towards a resolution. And women are awesome. I don't know what I would do without my female friends, honestly. We're rad. And this film is great.
You should watch it.
You should watch
it.
Okay, so my final question is the question we ask everybody, but who was your first celebrity crush?
Hey, you go first.
I mean, I'm going way back. It was probably like MacGyver.
I love that.
You know, I mean, he was like the only other guy that I knew outside of my dad when I was like 7. I don't know, celebrity crush.
MacGyver's an answer. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a pretty good
You could
that
fix
would be my
anything.
first celebrity crush. Yeah, I think so.
It's a practical choice.
Yeah.
Well, he's a very useful person.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I guess probably Buffy the Vampire Slayer for me. I was like, yes, I would need a strong female character who's also going to slay vampires. That works for me.
Perfect. I love Buffy. Thank you so much for joining us. This was such a lovely chat. Everybody needs to watch Do Your Worst on Netflix right now. That was our interview with Kate and Samantha. If you're still here, if you listened to me rambling in the beginning, you listened to the interview and you're still listening, thank you for that. Do Your Worst is now available to watch on Netflix right now. Switch your TV on, move on over to Netflix, and check out this hilarious film. Don't forget what we spoke about on the top of the episode. Follow us on TikTok. We're having a lot of fun over there, and it's great to engage with you guys. Follow us on Instagram. We had some lovely Met Gala voting polls this week. People were voting on what outfits they liked and what they didn't, and it was a lot of fun. Of course, we are always on Twitter. You can always hit us up there. Please, if you enjoy the episode, share it to your stories, share it on Twitter, let everybody know. So that's all from us this week. And if you would like to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/crushingonpod. This is where you can get bonus content. You can get merch. You can get everything in exchange for a monthly financial subscription that goes to paying the freelancers, paying our various subscriptions and bookings and all the things we have to pay to keep this podcast afloat. To catch us on social media, you can find me at Karen Walby on Instagram and at Karen Walbys with an S on Twitter. The podcast can be found at Crushing on Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can find more information about this and all our other episodes at our website, crushingonpod.com, and send any feedbacks to mail@crushingonpodcast.com. The show is produced by me, Karen, Rebecca Barches, and Leanne Phillipson. Our logo was designed by Nafifa Maroof. If you like the show, tell everyone that you can any way that you can. Keep up to date with all our episodes by subscribing to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please rate and review the episodes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as it helps others find the show. We'll be back next week with another in-depth conversation. See you then.